I'm burning. Yeah, yeah.
Up everyone, shake the stress that's killing you. Fancy footwork just like me, shake it over this dance floor. Throw your hands up everyone, shake the stress that's killing you. Fancy footwork just like me, shake it over this dance floor. Enjoy your life, be free, live right. Enjoy your life, have some fun and enjoy.
Coming up next on Mental Health Matters with Marty, join me for my girl, Dr. Margarita's story as we talk about how to keep your sanity in the holidays. Stay tuned. What's up, everybody? Listen, it's Wednesday. It's that type of day. We don't even care. Wild hair, no hair, we don't even care. What's going on? It's Martina Sellers. It's me, your mental health hygienist, telling you to wash that hygiene and wash that brain on a daily basis to keep your sanity. And we're about to go into the holiday season. So listen, I know we got some family members and friends you got to keep your sanity from, and just make sure you are, listen, speak up, speak out, and live. That's what we're doing. I love that. Step one, step two, shake the stress that's killing me. Baby, we shaking the stress. Shake it off, shake it off, shake it off. Come on, shake it off, shake it off. How you feeling and how you living? Let us know where you're listening from, because we got a show for you. But let me remind you what this show is all about. Listen, the Mental Health Matters with Marty show, along with the Daughters Dialogue, is a psychological and psychoeducational show, and psychoeducational only. We are not a substitute for your mental health journey. However, we are a supplement. So this show is intended for educational and educational purposes only. Again, we are not a substitute for seeing your medical doctor. We are not a substitute for seeing your therapist. We aren't even a substitute for praying with your pastor. Listen, we want to be a part of that treatment plan. So if you're experiencing any type of psychiatric emergency, medical emergency, please dial 911 or go to your nearest urgent care. But listen, if not, join us for the show. Invite some people in the room. Let us know that you're listening. And listen, drop some names in the chat. Invite them in. Invite them in. We're going to give you a few moments to invite them in. But how do you engage with us on this? Check it out. You can engage with us two means: on Mental Health Matters with Marty on that page there, or Marcel Media Group on that page on YouTube. Listen, Dr. Story and I are not trying to ignore you if you do it on our personal pages, but in order to engage, those are the two places you do engage with us. Listen, we still love you. Nothing but love here, baby. Nothing but love. It's Wednesday, so let's make it happen. Listen, what's our topic for today? Daryl, throw us a topic up. What are we talking about today? So glad you asked. Unhappy holidays. Help us, Holy Ghost. Hard times, disappointment, and mental health. Listen, do not allow, because you didn't get your stimulus check, to determine whether or not your holiday is going to be happy or not. Shout out to my mama. Hey, mama. No, shout out to my brother Bob. Bobby Jr., happy birthday, my brother. You know I got nothing but love to you there. That's my brother from the same mother. So that's my brother there. And to my auntie, Caressa Key, love you, darling. Happy 60th. We had a wonderful time on the cruise with you, and I would not have done it without you. So listen, happy birthday to my auntie. Happy birthday to my brother. But listen, I don't do this show by myself because it really is the story of the Daughters Dialogue, and I'm just a co-host. She's playing like she's the co-host, but I'm going to introduce her because she really is the host. I'm just here along because I love my sister. She's looking awfully beautiful. Listen, she wearing some color today. She got her hair done, her nails did. She popping and topping all the way from Philly, none other than my sister from another mister, the Reverend Dr. Marquita Story. Hey, darling, what's going on? That's right. Listen.
I am so glad to be with you, Marty. You know, I'm always in the back dancing. We have a dance off, you guys, before
Yes,
we
we
come
do.
on. I already had us dance. But I am so grateful to be with you each and every time we're able to be together. I thank God
Yes.
for you, for Marcel Media Group, and for the push and for the extension of this opportunity for my voice and my story to be heard. And thank you for allowing the Daughters Dialogue to kind of tag along with mental health matters with Marty. I love you,
But
and
you
I
know,
appreciate you.
I love you too. It's such a natural fit because mental health is
Yes.
about having dialogue. That's what it's all about. And too often
Hmm.
we don't have proper dialogue. We have dialogue
Hmm.
with people who can't help us. We have dialogue with people who are in the same situation we are. And so, as they always say, misery likes company. Well, I'm tired of hanging around the same miserable people. I'm gonna hang out. That's why I hang out with you, baby, because you going places, and I'm gonna go right there with you. I just gonna carry your pearls so you can put them on where you. I just want to carry your pearls, baby.
I love it. I love it. I love it. You go have the AKAs trying to run me over again. You know they be in pearls all the time, and that's my favorite. That is my favorite. That's my favorite gem,
Yes.
precious gem, and so I love
Yes.
it. But once again, I'm so grateful to bring this together because as you
Hmm.
focus a lot of time on mental
Right.
health, you do a wonderful job
Oh, bless you.
of getting topics that are able to help women and mothers and families and men to
Hmm.
really be able to open up and discuss or at least begin to hear
Right.
dialogue in reference to how we're feeling and to make
Hmm.
us a little more
Hmm.
conscious to our emotional health. And so I commend the work that you're doing.
Well, thank you. But you know what? Too often we have hidden, and that's why I say, stop secretly suffering in silence in the shadow of shame. Too many of our community have been suffering for so long. And I'm going to say this that we no longer have recognized trauma as a crisis, and we
My
just
God.
press through life. We don't we have accepted it and put it as a part of our norm for so long that we no longer have the psychological fortitude and the capacity oftentimes to recognize trauma as a crisis, and we think it's just like putting on this shirt. If I can say it like you, we put on trauma like your pearls you have on. We put on trauma like pearls on our wrist and everything, and think that it is an accessory when in actuality it is damaging us, it's killing us, and we have to rip off those pearls. Linda Hart, how are you, my dear? Linda Hart is an amazing
Yes.
advocate out here in the IE for mental health in the African American community. I love and
Praise God.
support her. She's opening doors for me. And Linda, how are you? Great topic. You're right. It is, because we don't want our people to continue to go back. And holiday times, I'm so glad you had this topic, and thank you for this. Y'all, I don't pick the topics for Wednesdays. Dr. Story does. That's why she, on January, is going to be leading, and I'm going to be co-hosting, and she's going to be hosting. But the the holiday times for so many, as you know, we have that song, especially at Christmas. It's the most wonderful time of the year, but for many people,
Hmm.
it's not. It reminds them of the trauma that goes on
Right.
in their lives. You know, I have
Right.
several patients who Christmas and Thanksgiving reminds them of the molestation that happened, that they
Hmm.
had to keep a
Hmm.
secret in the family, and that
Hmm.
they're now having to face or sit across the table or cook with
My
that
God.
person that has caused
Mm.
them the trauma or the PTSD in their lives, and they can't say anything. That's a
My
problem in our
God.
community. Yes. What are
It
you
it
observing?
really is.
Mhm.
One of the things is, especially with us being people of faith, we
Mhm.
feel like if you're not thankful, and if you're not full of joy all the time, that there's somehow something wrong with your faith. But there are difficulties come along in everyone's life. Come here, Job. Job lost everything. And there were difficulties, and we saw 41 chapters having to deal with high and horrors in our own life. And it is not that we're not thankful for who God is. It's not
Mhm.
that we're not thankful that we are alive, but we've got to begin to give voice to the
Mhm.
fact that we've been through some things, and especially during
Mhm.
these holidays, Marty,
Mhm.
because we have
Mhm.
over 600,000 people that died because of COVID. That does
Yes.
not include those who died in accidents and violent
Right.
crimes and because of
Yes.
cancer and heart attacks and
Mhm.
all of those other things. The numbers are so high. People who have lost their jobs, the
Yes.
difficult families to restructure all of a
Yes.
sudden and
Yes.
maintain this new way of living for over
Mhm.
18, 19 months, nearly 2 years. The difficulties of not being able to be with others as children who have now
Mhm.
had to be isolated with adults and
Yes.
not being able to be around their kids.
Talk,
Baby,
Dr.
there
Story.
are some things that have hurt us, and there have been some hard times. And because of that, it is okay for us to say, I'm thankful, but I'm a
Mhm.
little unhappy, because
Yes.
happiness is connected to what's happening.
Mhm. Ooh, that's good. Say that again. Say that again. Yes.
And happiness is connected to what's happening. And what is
Mhm.
happening is that all of the trauma, of the
Mhm.
stress that we've had to maintain our sanity
Mm.
through, it is time for us to not only deal with it, but learn
Yes.
how to move forward. And these holidays may not be so happy for everyone.
Totally agree. Totally agree. Shout out real quick on saw my page there. Trey, where have you been, man? Thank you for being and seeing us. Dr. Sean Stewart, I saw you comment and reviewing. You're supposed to be on
Yes.
here. Check your email, brother. Daryl, look out for Sean. Listen,
Yes.
can I post? Okay, beautiful. He said, listen, welcome to our stage. Listen, our co-host, none other than Bishop Sean Stewart. Sean, how you feeling?
Hey
There you
family,
go.
how
Our
is
brother.
everybody?
We better now.
Good
Hi.
to see you
Yes,
all.
sir. We the three musketeers. What is going
Listen, I
on?
couldn't imagine doing life without you all. It wouldn't even be normal.
The gang's all here,
Listen,
as they said.
I do
That's
apologize for
right.
my late arrival. We had school board meeting this evening, and it carried over further than I had anticipated. So I didn't want to participate while driving,
Yeah,
because when
we
I'm
want you to be
allergic to
safe.
premeditated death, even if it's my own, and so I wanted to be sure that I got to it safely. But I do want to
Yes.
stamp one thing that you all are onto, and I really want to stamp that because that part of what I addressed tonight in the board meeting was
Hmm.
exactly what you all are talking about. I've got a
Yes.
lot of students and staff. I've got a lot of human capital
That's
that is
right.
on First Street.
Mm.
What do you mean First Street, Stewart? I'm glad you
Hmm.
asked. You always ask the right questions. This is your
Yes, we do.
first time experiencing Thanksgiving without the person you love. You're now sitting at a
Yes.
table for the first time, and that chair is empty. You've cooked dinner for
Mm.
the person you've cooked dinner for 20 years, and they're no longer
Talk.
there to eat. Pick up the phone to
Mhm.
call your mom to talk about how to cook cornbread. We in the South, we cook cornbread dressing. Let me be clear about that. We
That's
in the
right.
South, we
That's
cook
right.
Yes.
cornbread dressing, not
Cornbread,
Yeah.
stuffing. I just
cornbread.
wanted to
That's right.
clarify that
That's
for the
right.
That's
church.
right.
Right,
We do
right.
that in
For
the
the
Dressing.
South. And
dressing. Yeah,
so
not
you
stuffing.
called your grandmother to talk about how to cook the
Hmm.
dressing, and she didn't answer the
Yes.
Yeah.
phone. And so
Yes.
I am
Yeah.
watching the people that I serve with in this journey called
That's
education,
good.
the people I serve with in this thing called ministry. They're on First Street and they are struggling, and we
Mm.
cannot sit silent and watch the ones that we love suffer when we know something is going on. And I would like to encourage you to do this. Check on the people who you deem to be the strongest all the time, because that's the person who's struggling the most.
Yes, yes, you're
Yes.
so right. You're
Yeah.
so right. Shout out to my cousin, the Reverend Doctor Bishop Kelsey Crenshaw. Much love to you, brother Crenshaw. That's my fam out there, and he's saying we having way too much
Amen.
fun without him. See, but can I can I pose this as well? Oftentimes, what we don't look at is a lot of the self sabotage through self soothing, the maladaptive self soothing things that we do, such as the increase of alcohol, the
Hmm.
increase of drug use, the increase of, can I
And
go
let's be
here?
clear, Marty, drug use does include Tylenol PM from
Come
2 to
on,
10 a night, to
come on,
Hmm.
NyQuil, to so
come
I want to
on.
be clear that when we say drug use, we don't just mean getting you a dime bag or like that.
Right, right,
Drug use
right.
also means over the counter.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
Right.
And
Right.
can we talk
And
about
that's
our
an
maladaptive
epidemic as
behaviors?
well.
Yeah.
That's
In of
right.
Mhm.
itself,
Hmm.
that's
It
right.
is. And I'm
Hmm.
going to go here. And can we go here? Those of us who are now overeating because of that, we don't know how to deal with the stress of that. So now we're just eating any and everything. Those who are under eating and starving ourselves, because there is a group out there, and believe it or not, you know who it's most common in? Listen, when I'm telling you this, teenage boys. Do
Yes,
not think
sir.
that girls are the only ones
Wow.
who starve themselves. Teenage boys, especially, I'm coming down the street, athletes. Athletes will starve themselves to death. Yes, they will.
Wow.
You
For
don't hear me what I'm
performance.
Wow.
saying. Right,
Right.
right.
Wow. And so all of that, as all of us are saying, and one of the things I really want us to ensure is that we're going through this time, we acknowledge our feelings because they're real.
Yes,
Are real. We've got to acknowledge that there are times where we need to express them, that we
yes,
feel lonely, that we're feeling a
yes,
little melancholy or depressed or
yes,
anxious. We need
yes,
to express our feelings because you
yes.
can't force anybody to be happy, and you can't force anyone to be joyous, and you can't pretend to be that either,
Come on,
not
come on.
from within.
And we've
That's
been
why we need to
pretending
learn
for
how to
so long.
acknowledge and express.
Yes.
That's right. That's right.
We've been pretending
That's
too
right.
long. And so I say it this way. I agree. Listen, Dr. Sean, that recommendation of Rita Walker's book is changing my life. Listen, I
Yes,
got to
it's
come to
great.
Houston and meet her. Oh my God. Because
Yes,
she does
I
it
love
this
it.
way. Some of the unintentional things that we are not tracking is the long
Mhm.
term, she calls, when we don't take care of our physical bodies, those of us who have
Mhm.
diabetes, those of us who have high blood pressure, and we still continue those things. Those of us are still drinking. Those of us are still doing, whether it's pharmaceutical, non pharmaceutical drugs. We are committing long term suicide. Yes, I said it. And
Yes,
we are not tracking
yes,
those things as being
yes,
suicidal. And we already know that
yes.
during the holidays, y'all, suicide and suicide ideation
Goes up.
increases during that. It goes up. And because I'm
Absolutely.
going to go back on
Even
Dr.
in the
Stewart's,
church, Marty.
Mhm. Come on, and we
even
got
in
to
the
stop
church.
saying that folks are going to hell. No, they are severely depressed, and we need to get to the root of it and
How
talk to them.
can you
And
go to hell when you are living in it?
come, they already
Ain't
been
gotta
there.
go nowhere. You're already there.
You
Talk,
already
Right.
Sean.
there.
Talk,
How can
talk,
I
Sean.
get so confused about how we can go to
That's
hell
right. That's right.
when you're
Hmm.
already
Hmm.
living through the hell you've
Living.
got. I don't. How can
Hmm.
it
Come on,
doesn't
someone
even
get
psychologically make sense.
Natalie Cole
Hmm.
on the phone. She said, "I'm catching hell." She said it. Yes, she
Right.
did. And made a whole
Living this.
made a whole
That's
song
what she
behind
said.
it.
She sure did. She sure did. She sure did.
Yes.
But as we're saying though, we've got to understand that there's also not just a physical suicide, but
Right.
there are relational suicides and
Yes.
spiritual
Yes.
suicide that we are participating in.
Mm-hmm.
Relationally, we will
Mm-hmm.
have those same types of behaviors that will slowly
Mm-hmm.
kill a relationship
Mm-hmm.
because we're
Mm-hmm.
not dealing with the anxieties and depressions that we have. The other thing that
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to mention was that Sean had brought up, and he keeps saying that, talking to one. Reach out. He's like, reach out to those that we feel like are shit. But there are individuals who have 20 and 50 people homes and still alone and isolated. And so don't listen,
Yes.
just do deed and reach out, because we never know who we could be supporting and providing
That's right. That's
companionship
right.
to and
Hmm.
aid to, just by being available. And so I love it when it says that repetitiously,
Yes.
reach out. And I'm
Yes.
just saying, do it to anyone. If they cross your mind, reach out. But then the other thing I wanted to drop in is, we're
Mm-hmm.
having these hard times. I want to know, uh, think about, no, to some family activities, saying no, to having to purchase all of the gifts that we use. Is it okay for me to say no, that I am feeling overwhelmed, or I don't want to go to the office Christmas party, or I'm
Mm-hmm.
not in that type of framework to do this right now? Is it okay for us to say no during the holidays?
I say
Not only
yes,
is
it's
it good
okay
to
to
say
say no.
no,
Mm-hmm.
it's actually better if you
Healthy.
live in the
Yes.
no.
Live in the KNOW while saying
Yeah,
NO.
like both.
Mm-hmm.
Because what happens is we have to get to the place where self-sacrifice isn't the only thing we
Mm-hmm.
believe about Christianity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Ooh,
So we
ooh,
got to
ooh,
get to
yeah,
the place
ooh.
where it's okay to make yourself
that
first and not feel guilty about doing it.
good.
And I'm
But we've
guilty.
That's
I
been
will
good.
we've
own
been
it.
told. Go
I will
ahead. Go
own it.
ahead,
I
doctor.
am guilty of taking care of everybody else, making sure
But me.
everybody, but I am horrible,
Hmm.
Rita.
Hmm.
I am horrible at taking care of myself. And I'll even go out to say this. Do you know the people who you think are the strongest struggle with accepting compliments?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Because they don't want that level of light on them.
Mm-hmm.
Because we fully show up to serve you, we fully show up to take care of you. We don't really fully
Mm-hmm.
show up for you to acknowledge the person that's in front of you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so
Hmm.
when we start digging into, what Rita was talking about, I really think we got to push a little further. We have to get to the place where I don't know if many of you know about a gentleman by the name of Father Richard Rohr. He wrote a book and he was really digging into the spiritual work. And he simply said this: all spiritual knowledge is not cognition, it's recognition. I will say that again. All spiritual
Hmm.
knowledge is not cognition, it is recognition. We have to recognize the hard times, the disappointments, the stress. We have to own those things. We don't have to understand them. We just have to recognize that they're
Right.
present.
Right.
Right. Right. Right. we do, and, but that's hard for us because that means you have to have a sense of self. And see, if you don't have a complete sense of self and what your psychological
Mhm.
fortitude is, what your spiritual there are some
Mhm.
days I can fight with
Yeah.
the best of them. There's other days I'm like, now look, Jesus, I'm gonna cut everybody up in here, and I'm just gonna have to go to the altar and pray. You're just gonna have to
Mhm.
forgive me
But people who
because,
repent are sorry. I might not be sorry about my actions.
well, this is true.
Right.
This
I
Right.
is
mean, let's just
true.
Well,
put it out there, y'all. Y'all saved. I'm for real. I'm sanctified. I'm set apart. I might not be sorry for what I said and did.
mhm.
I might actually mean it. And here is why I'm saying that. A lot of times we'll say stuff and we'll say we're sorry because we didn't mean to hurt the person's feelings, and we'll sit and suffer in solitude. When in actuality,
Mm-hmm.
what you said is really what the sentiments of your heart. Just own
Mm-hmm.
that and let's move on to the next step.
Mm.
Right.
Bless the Lord.
Right.
Bless the Lord.
One of the things I'm not going to go as far as Bishop. We'll go, but when I can't change my behavior or my inner feeling, I know that I'm not at my best. I have to change
Mm-hmm.
my environment because sometimes my
Mm.
environment will be and dictate some of kind
Yes.
of what Bishop was saying, expectations that others have of me. Because if I'm in the wrong environment, I can't show up as Rita. I can't show Rita. I can't show up as Riri. Say that I got a whole lot of people up in here, and so
Right, right, right,
I
right.
because of the environment, and because of that, that's why I was saying when we're having those hard times, when we're
Mm-hmm.
dealing with disappointments, we've got to be ones that acknowledge our feelings. We've got to be realistic. Just
Mm-hmm.
as Bishop was saying, put too much pressure, put much more pressure on me. I might not be sorry, and I may do
Okay.
exactly what I desire to do. Can be the wrong individual wrong thing. Self.
Awesome. Dr. Story, we're having a little connection trouble with you for some reason because I thought it was me. Because you're talking good truth. You're talking good. Do us a favor. Go out and come back in so we can make sure because we don't want to miss anything you saying.
Sure.
We got you, baby. We got you. We got you. Listen, Dr. Story is saying some truth there. And what I want to add onto this, Bishop, is this. In order to do that, we got to understand. This goes back to her knowing when to say no.
Yes.
We got to understand when I just don't have the capacity to deal with family. Sometimes I don't have the capacity to deal with friends. And if I can be truthful, some days I can barely have the capacity to deal with myself. Right.
And to be
But
honest, Marty, we have to own when we get to that spot. And let me tell you why. Well, I can talk about me.
mhm,
There are moments I am on the struggle bus sinking. You hear me? The
come on.
struggle bus sinking.
Mhm,
And out the
mhm,
clear blue sky, you will call and say, hey, just check it on you.
mhm,
You
mm.
will be surprised what that little text, what that little phone call does for the rest of the day. We have to
Wow.
be
Yeah.
okay, saints, that we struggle in our emotions and that we get
Yes.
upset and that those things
Yes.
hit. You can be angry and be Christian and be okay with that. What you cannot be is angry for
Yes.
life on the same issue with the
Come
same
on.
person on the same thing and not have no release. That's spiritual
And
constipation.
yes. Ooh, Lord have mercy. And how many constipated people do we have? We not so that's a whole
Listen,
nother story. But in order to
Rita,
get
come
there
get him.
again,
Come get him, Rita.
I
Get him. Just get him. I'm turning off
listen.
the camera.
Okay.
Just get him.
We ain't taking me off the camera. Listen, Daryl, get her sound right. Is you in?
Yeah,
Yes.
Daryl, come on now. We counting on you, bro. I would like to push us even to this. What does it
Okay.
mean to have emotional optimism?
Mm. See that's good. Emotional optimism. But I think that comes to a point where you are optimistic and live in a space where you are challenging yourself. And I'm going to use Rita's term. Sometimes you have to remove yourself from the negative situation in order for me to be
Mm-hmm.
optimistic about self in life, I need to put myself in an optimal position to be optimistic. And sometimes being with family is not an optimal position in order for
It is
me
not.
to be optimistic about my
Hmm.
life.
I've
And
learned
knowing,
that yeah, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
go ahead. No, no. And knowing those family members. See, now y'all making me tell all my secrets. I rate folk, even my own family members. I know the time frame that I can deal with certain people. I know the mental frame that I can deal with certain people. So, we do a family cruise every year now, and we just got back from it. Hello, family. But I know my own fortitude and what I can do.
Hmm.
And there was a couple nights for dinner. I'm like, I can't join them. I'm not in the right frame of mind. Or I was having such a great time. I'll catch them another time. God bless them. I
Hmm.
love them. It didn't change my relationship, but I just knew what I needed to do in that moment for my own
And those
psychological
decisions
fortitude.
were based on what was best for you.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
did you struggle with your feelings in making that decision?
No, not at
I
all.
don't either. Mm-mm.
But I'll say
I don't.
this: there was a time I would have struggled with it. There was a time when I
Hmm.
said, "Oh my God, it's 5 after 7. They're expecting me for dinner. They're expecting me for dinner." It was the last night. I'm like, I don't want to eat in the dining hall. I want some barbecue up here. I'm gonna get me some ribs with some of this macaroni and cheese. I'm gonna get me some cornbread. I'm gonna have some coleslaw, and I said I had
And
dinner
add
with them.
about 10 pounds of
I
salt to it so it has some seasoning.
oh. But we had a good time, and the family wasn't
Hmm.
mad. They're like, they said, "Well, we missed you." I said, "I missed y'all too," and we kept the conversation moving. We
Hmm.
kept the
Hmm.
conversation moving with that. But Dr. Sean, how do we support and help those in these unhealthy holidays time so that we're having healthy relationships in what can be with unhealthy people?
So I think the first thing is we have to own what our strength and our limitations are.
That's it.
We have to get
Yes.
very clear about what we can and cannot handle. There are some people that are open to hearing your conversation, hearing your concern, want to hear how you want to support them through that process. Good. If that person is there, they're
Yes.
ready for what I call the law of equitable exchange, where you two can exchange thoughts, feelings, and emotions, help iron sharpen iron.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
there's some people who are, it's not that they don't want to hear what you have to say, they're not in a place to understand what you have to say.
Mm.
Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
those
Mm-hmm.
feelings are so raw that you've got to give them time not to heal, but just to get a scab over that raw meat. A
Yes.
lot of times
Yes.
our emotional stress have us so strung out that we forget that we need to hear the heart of
Yes.
the people we love
Yes.
instead of listening to the heart of the people we love.
That's good. That's good. Dr. Story, I see you're back on. Do you hear us, Dr. Story? We're going to get it together. We're going to. Oh, no. Lord have mercy. Dr. Story, we got to get you. We don't know what's going on with your sound now. I told you to go out because we
There
couldn't
needs
get
an
you.
intervention.
Daryl needs an intervention.
Hmm.
Look,
He
now we're going to have to do some
got my
silent.
sister on here looking wrong. We're gonna have an intervention when we need to talk about that. I do
He
believe
said,
that something else that I wanted to point to, Marty, is a lot of times we assume that because the person does the same thing every day at the same time and
mm-hmm,
give you the same emotional energy that you are accustomed to, that everything is
mm-hmm,
fine.
mm-hmm,
That
mm-hmm,
isn't
mm-hmm,
always the truth.
mm-hmm,
The truth is, a
mm-hmm.
lot of times, I give you what you're used to so you won't ask me for what's wrong.
Mm.
So I'll give you
That's
what
so
you're
good.
used to. So then that way you'll stay far enough away. Watch this. Not that I won't hurt you, but so that you won't
Right.
see how uncovered I am and hurt me while trying to help me.
Ooh, Woo! See, that's good right
Because
there.
a
That's
lot of
good.
times, what we go through, where did everybody go?
Uh-oh, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I just don't see everybody, but okay.
Okay. Well, I still hear you. I see you on my end.
I'm not upside down,
Uh-oh.
am I?
Nope. Nope. You're all good. Y'all, we having
Okay.
fun tonight.
Listen, this you tell Daryl we're having a full-fledged meeting. Do you hear me?
Listen, Daryl in the background screaming in my ear. Listen, it's not you, Daryl. We
It's a
know it.
mess.
We only
This is a whole
playing.
mess. But that's okay. I'm here
Daryl,
for it. Upside down
yes,
or
we
not, we're
are.
gonna make it work. The one thing we cannot get away from is when people are not ready to heal, forcing them to heal hurts you more than it does heal them
Yes, yes,
or help
yes,
them. When you
yes.
force your weight of wanting to help, even though your intentions are good, you create a
Mm-hmm.
whole nother atmosphere of aggression and anger
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
person didn't need, even though your
Mm-hmm.
intentions were right. Your process was wrong, which means the outcome doesn't happen.
Right,
So we
right,
got to be
right.
clear that when people push us away sometime, they're not pushing you away because they don't want you there. They're pushing you away because they don't want to be there and they don't know how to help you if you get in that same storm with them. So we got to give people space. We got to check in
Yes.
with them periodically. And then if they say, but here is the key. When people tell you, I need space, say fine.
Mm-hmm.
Give them space, but give them space with a catch. Put a string on it. All right, I'm going to give you this. But this time tomorrow, I'm going to call you, check on you. I'm going to FaceTime you. I need to see your face.
Mm-hmm. You know, we on my show
Because,
yesterday. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, no. I was what I was going to use. Okay, Dr. Story's back. Come on, bring her back on with us. Yes, we've been having just some technical difficulty. You're back with us, Dr. Story.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. You're back. Woo!
Awesome. Awesome.
Listen, the problem was that the topic was too heavy for the internet, and they couldn't help. They couldn't have us. They couldn't have us. So
Yes.
just for the record, Daryl had nothing to do with it. He wanted to make
No,
sure I made it clear.
no, it was not him.
It was not you,
I
Daryl. We
wrote
know
his
that.
name down in the book. It was not the Lamb's Book of Life either. I wrote his name down. I'm so glad you said something. I wrote his name down, put it into a line. I'm glad you said something. Yeah,
We gonna get that book. We gonna get that book,
I had him
Marty.
down. He was
That
on
book
his way
got a
to it.
lot
I'm
in
so
it.
glad you cleaned it up for him because he was about to suffer.
Oh, he took you off
Did
the
he take my
screen.
picture off the screen? That's fine. Let me find my phone. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Check your phone. Check your phone, Too Tall. I'm gonna send you 2 words.
Listen, y'all get. You know I love y'all. I wouldn't do this with anyone else but y'all. I got
Listen,
nothing but
I
love for
don't know
y'all.
nobody else that can pull this off like we do. I
I
just
know.
I
don't.
It's
agree.
the truth. It's the truth.
Somebody need to pick us up because we need a check.
Yes.
We need a check now. Someone call Oprah. Someone call Tyler Perry.
No,
I don't care.
listen.
Someone call
Somebody.
Listen.
Regina
But I
King.
will
Come
point to
on.
this though. All jokes aside, we say
Mm-hmm.
this jokingly and we're laughing. All three of us are clergy. All three of us
Mm-hmm.
serve in different capacities of ministry. All three of us
Mm-hmm.
love what we do, but we
Mm-hmm.
also love the people that we serve. And so I really want to
Yes.
stamp for everybody. We're laughing at all of this stuff and we're joking and stuff, but we are not just emotionally tied to you. We are
Yes.
physically and spiritually responsible to anyone who hears the sound of our voice. That if you
Yes.
That's right.
find yourself for anyone that you love, it could even be somebody you can't stand. I'm not going to say you hate. I'm just going to say somebody you can't stand.
Right. Right.
If
Right.
you know
Right.
that
Right.
that person is in a place of distress, we want you to connect with us because we have resources that are attached to us that can help
That's
Yes.
right.
people get to better places.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And
And can I give a shout out
like
to? Go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. Story.
no, give your shout out. I remember.
No, yeah. I want to shout out Tanya Hill. Tanya Hill has followed us because she loves
Yes.
you, Dr. Story. Tanya Hill from
Praise
Friendship
God.
Baptist Church. We love Tanya.
I love her.
And Pam Wilson. Pam, good to see you out there. Trey, Jonathan Davis, God bless you. Listen, we love all y'all and thank you and I cannot, Mrs. Mitchell, who is our biggest fan. We love Mrs. Mitchell. God bless you, Mrs.
Yes.
Mitchell, and we'll always take the critique. But we do this, and this is genuinely who we are. What you see
Yes.
is what you get.
Mhm.
Any day of the week, tired or not, this
Every
is what
day.
you get from us. Yes.
Yes.
But you were going to say, Dr. Story, go ahead.
But along with what Bishop is saying, it is hard to have a God call and not be in a place where it's a heart call and an HEART. Because when we got a God call, it's a heart call, and because of that, we are also a part of those struggles that individuals find themselves in, and just as Bishop is saying, even even if we know we're not the answer, we are available to assist in ensuring that they're
Yes.
pushed and pointed towards the resources that they need because of being people of faith. We believe the word of God that says that Jesus came that we might have life and
Life.
it in abundance, meaning nothing missing and nothing lacking. And so what prayer don't do, the power does what the power and the presence, because people try to act like God being present is enough. And come here, disciples who found themselves in the storm, Jesus was with them, and out of their mouths with the presence of the Lord there,
God,
they said,
yes.
this carest thou not that we
That
perish,
we
because
perish.
the pressures of life can be so profound that we need that help. And because of that, we want to make sure, just as Bishop is saying, that there is an open
Yes.
dialogue, that if you can't go
Yes.
where you're going and say what you need to say, contact Bishop. He's available. Contact
Yes, he is.
Marty. He's available. Contact me.
Yes.
I'm available. I may not have the
Yes.
answer, but baby, I can struggle with you and point you to the answers that I know and the resources that are around me, because we're not so ignorant to believe that we have the answers. And even when
That's right.
we bounce things off of one another,
Mhm.
looking for answers at
Mm-hmm.
times, as
Mm-hmm.
well as
Mm-hmm.
relief and release. We have to do that one with the other, and we are available for that. But as we're talking about this unhappy in the holidays, one of the things I
Mhm.
did want to make sure that we were able to talk about, and if you guys have anything that you would like to add on it, was how we can honor our grief during this time.
That's
With
good.
over 600,000 individuals that have died, even in my family, having
Yes.
8 individuals who have died, how do you honor that grief that is real, not only just in me, but in all
Mm-hmm.
that are either at the table or with all of the last names that my family has? And don't judge me, but we got a lot of last names. But honoring our grief and taking time to do that. And biblically, I want to say this, because we've gotten so contemporary that we don't do it. But biblically, there were sackcloth and ashes that were an ocular
Yeah.
demonstration that a family or a clan was going through something. And we no longer have ocular demonstrations that there is something wrong other than crying or
Mm-hmm.
something like that, or being bedridden. And biblically, there was a sign when the leader of the clan had the sackcloth and ashes on, that
Mm-hmm.
everybody knew that he was not able to work, he was not able
Mm-hmm.
to war, and he was not
Mm-hmm.
able to worship, because his mind was where he needed to be focused on his family.
Ooh.
What?
You better give us
Where
the
did she?
W's.
Why?
She said they was not able to work, war, or worship. Come on. But that's so true, because we give you 3 days
That's right.
and say,
That's right.
it's over, come back to life. It takes in the grieving cycle, in most cases, especially those who are closest to us, a
Hmm.
year to get
Yeah.
through the grieving process. Because it takes a year to get through all the holidays without them,
Mm-hmm.
all the birthdays without them, and you processing this because you're on First Street. Come on, Bishop, once again.
But
Listen,
but Marty, with what you're saying though, that 1 year is if you're actively dealing with your grief. See, when
talk to me, story, because
That
you was
part,
going
come
where I
on.
was.
Yes.
go on, Bishop.
Go, Bishop.
Pretend
Go ahead.
we project
Mm-hmm.
the process
Mm-hmm.
of grieving by pretending that if you cry, that's over. That's not true.
Mm-hmm.
I watched my daddy tell my mother goodbye in the funeral, get in the
Mm.
family car and go home and have to celebrate his birthday on the same day he buried his wife.
Right.
Jesus.
After everybody left, it was my
Lord have mercy.
responsibility to go home every other weekend to check in on daddy. My daddy did not start dealing with mother's death until 4 years after the fact she was gone.
Exactly.
Because
Yes.
after 52 years of marriage, I hate to say this, man, we think we are in control, but my mother had my daddy broke in. He knew a couple of things. He said, like, I'm gonna just put it out there, like he knew a couple of things, like he knew them Daniel Green house shoes need to be on the side of that bed, and that house coat needed to be there, and he go draw that bath at a like he certain to put certain. He
Right.
knew
Right.
those things.
Right.
Mother died, word got out, and we're country people. Word got out in the country. What folk do? They bring pounds, come to the house and sit for a while, right? After a while, we
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
started putting folk out the house, and then Daddy did
Mm-hmm.
what he normally did. He went to the bedroom. I watched him. He turned back the sheets.
Yeah.
Now I'm in there pulling out the
Right.
stuff to get to the
Right.
insurance policies and all this kind of stuff, and I'm sitting at my daddy's desk watching him pull mother's
Right.
house coat off the closet, lay it on the bed, and then walk to the restroom. And he sat down, and then it hit him
Hmm.
that he was
Yes.
drawing a bath for someone
And she's
that
no
was not
that's
coming
no
to
longer
take him.
there.
Yes. Yes.
And when it
Yes.
hit, y'all, it hit. And we
Yeah.
couldn't,
Mm.
there was no one who could console him until he made up in his mind that he
Hmm.
was ready to move on. I'm pointing to that for one reason. Grief is a process that when it hit, it hits off the radar. And when that
Yes.
person is in it, the worst thing you can do is nudge them on. You got to let them
Hmm.
sit there,
Mm-hmm.
gang, and you got to let them stew and suffer in it. You just be a good spoon and stir every now and again and be sure they move it, and then let them sit there. The
That's
best
good.
thing we did for
That's
my dad,
good. That's
I
good.
called a therapist and said, hey, I'm a social worker. I'm looking at this. I know this means this. I said, how do I help my daddy? And she simply said, don't change nothing in the house. Don't move nothing in the house.
That's
Wait
right.
for him
That's
to
right.
show you, not tell you. Wait for
Where?
him to show you that he's ready to move on. 4 years
Mm-hmm.
later, he was
Mm-hmm.
ready to move on. How do we know? My mother wore crowns every Sunday. We started passing.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy started giving the crowns away. Her handkerchief started going away. He was ready to part with her
Mm-hmm.
purses. I'm pointing to this for a reason. When you cook Thanksgiving dinner that's coming up in the next couple of weeks, and you go shopping to buy your collards and your mustards, and you try to
Mm-hmm.
mix them, and you don't
Come
understand
on,
why they not,
Collins.
you don't mix greens. That's witchcraft. And so anyway, I wanted to put that out there. You don't mix that. But when you go to cook those things, and you go to call the people that you used to talk to help you navigate the process,
Right.
and that person you go to call no longer answers, know that everything you feel at that moment is valid.
Yes.
You
It
are
is.
allowed to
It
And
is.
to
cry,
And
to
honor that.
crash, to
And
sit,
to
to
honor that. Yes.
yes.
yes,
Hmm.
Rita, we
Hmm.
and be okay that you remember you are human.
That's
I
right.
would call my grandmother in Newark, Ohio, not Newark, New Jersey, Newark, Ohio. And when it was our tradition on my way to church to talk to her. And when she passed and I came back home, it was my tradition And for a few weeks, I was dialing her number. And Sean, it hit me. I can't talk to her. And it took me a while to stop being able to pick up the phone because it was so routine. I would talk to Lucille Sellers, Grandma, how was church today? How are you doing? You know, and it took some time to grieve in that. And so even when we were just having a conversation, my sister is here right now. We were talking about the tea cakes she used to make. Baby, she made some tea cakes for us. We talked about the butter roll she made. Y'all don't know nothing about no butter roll.
Listen, now talk to me. You're talking good.
Yeah. We would talk about the homemade Russian dressing she would make out of some ketchup and a little olive oil and everything dressing. Like. Come on, yes she would. Yes she would. She talked about. My cousin said, "How do you eat pound cake, Marty?" I said, "With 2 slices of bacon and a cup of coffee."
That's right.
See, I'm getting even emotional now, and just thinking about that because she was the matriarch of the family. And to miss that, and as Thanksgiving comes up now she liked turnips. Now I like collards, but I eat turnips every now and again just to remember Lucille Sellers. And my heart goes out and shout out. We're praying for the Scott family, for Sister Eddie Mae Scott, who's a mother who just passed away at, I believe, 86. But we praise God because Mother would sing, "I'm climbing the rough side of the mountain on my way home." So Mother has made it home, and we praise God for that. She passed on yesterday, but our prayers goes out to the Scott family in Newark, Ohio.
Yeah, we'll be praying for them. Marty, just like with you, one of the things that I do is I bake pound cakes because my mom was a great baker. My mother was a lousy cook. But she was a great baker.
Baby, the shade behind that cook deceit was hard.
Baby, I'm trying to tell you. Listen, I'm going to tell you, Sean, the only way me and my brothers came on one accord, we used to have family meetings, and we came together to tell my mother all together that she had bad food, and we decided that we were going to be eating at Burger King because my uncle owned some Burger Kings in Dallas, and she said it sounded like a great idea, and that chick made us eat Burger King breakfast, lunch, and dinner for over 3 months because we came together telling her food was lousy. And yes, she was a lousy cook.
And y'all live. Let's be clear. You told her food was lousy and she let you live. Let's be clear about that.
But listen to me. Let me tell you what I know, like my eyes are brown. My mother said she didn't marry my daddy because of her ability to be able to cook. She said that was not on the application. So that's the kind of mother I had. How about that? I didn't get this. I got that from my mother.
Talk clear here. Talk real clear about the story.
My mother was like, it was not on the application. Can you cook? So, but anyway, my mother was a great baker. And so when y'all come back in the room, we're talking about grief. Can y'all come back in the room?
We are in grief. You told your mama she couldn't cook. Like the whole church is set up rigor mortis.
We can't take that to the pastor's table.
They would bring us food. They would like make some food to Pastor House because you know how First Lady cooked. No, they already knew. They knew it. Listen, but my mother was an extraordinary baker. She could bake pies and breads and cakes. And so when I think of her and when I'm honoring my grief, I bake. I'm not a big cake eater, but I make a crazy pound cake. And Sean, I heard you make a good one too. We're gonna have to see.
That's fine. That's fine. There was a young lady that Marty, I think that you all should do. If you ever get a chance to connect with her, I really do believe she will do you some good. Her name is Jotina Buck, and she has a thing called. She wrote a book called "Change Your Life, Change Your Language," or "Change Your Language, Change Your Life." But she really delved into this thing of positive psychology and honoring where you are in your work, in your life. And one of the things that she talks about in her book is being fully present in rough times. And so a lot of times when she's dealing with stuff, she has a dress of her mother. And I knew her mother. We served together in ministry many, many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
and she would put on her mother's dress when she's honoring her moments, or she would cook
Wow.
something that represents her mother, or when she's
Right.
in deep emotional
Right.
shallow waters, if you will, she refers
Yeah.
back to not just her mom, but she goes and gets something of her mom's and put it on
Yes.
so she can get to the
Yes.
place where she can handle
Yes.
what it is. And one of the things that I love about Jotina is that I think it's Jotina Buck International, JTBI International, but look her up. She has a great book, Change Your Language,
Mm.
Change Your Life. And one of the things that she really deals with is stop eloping or stop evading or running away from what you feel.
That's right.
It's okay that you feel it. It is not okay that you disown that feeling is present.
Exactly.
Right,
And
She
that is
right.
talks
so
I love
about
true.
that.
that.
And if I could
Go
share
ahead.
as
Mm-hmm.
well, I wear a bracelet. I don't know if you guys can see this one
Yes.
right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
This one that has
Uh-huh.
my long fingernail on it. This one right
Uh-huh.
here.
Yes.
It never comes off. And it says "Mom" always in my heart, and it has my mother's DNA in it. And
Oh,
they can't,
wow.
I can't take it off if I wanted to. It would take two men with pliers to pull it off because it was fit on there. But it is something that
Wow.
I always have with me because my mother used to tell me all the time that
Wow.
I'm gonna always be with you when you go preach. I'm gonna always
Mm.
be with you when you go preach. And my mom can't always,
Right.
she
Physically be
couldn't
present.
always be there with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
I used to have a one of her handkerchiefs because they didn't blow noses in tissues. They blew
No,
noses in
no,
Right.
handkerchiefs.
ma'am. No,
Right.
ma'am.
And they
Handkerchiefs.
had lace on the bottom of them,
That
baby,
was
and that's what it
Yes.
was.
disrespectful
Yes.
to the spiritual
And
authority
Yes.
because
of a mother.
right. And because I still have to preach, I want to make sure that my mom can keep her word to me. And there
Yes.
are times
Mm-hmm.
where people will see me and they're like, "You need to take them bracelets off. You need to," and I'm like, "You need to mind your business. You need to mind your
That's
business
right.
Oh,
because
see,
it's not
it's
that it's
not that they
bothering."
need to mind their business, Marty. That concerns me. It's you need to mind your business with the nail that straightens after she says it. I'm just saying, like, I mean, these progressive bifocals could be showing me things wrong, but I'm just saying, it look like that
No,
whole
baby,
nail just
it,
straightened. You
I don't
need to
know if y'all
mind
can
your
see it.
business.
There,
That whole,
right there.
yeah,
There
child,
it is.
that's. Where is the Savior to help us? Ain't that what the song said? Ask the Savior to help. Ain't that what they
Put
sung in the
that in the
Baptist
book.
church?
Put that in the
God,
book.
Uh,
where's my
Put that in
help?
the book.
Because
Put that in the
says
book. But
comfort.
that's one of the things I get to do is I get
Yes.
to
Mhm.
have my mom with me, and I miss her, and
Yes.
I'm with you, Marty. There were times where I would be like, "Oh, I've been running. I got to call mommy," and it's like,
Yes.
"Girl, there is no mommy to call. Get okay, what is it? What do you need to do?" And so Sean, like you were saying, Jotina has her mother's dress. I have a Chanel bag, that
Wow.
my a old Chanel bag that I'll get and I'll carry sometimes, and all of my Tiffany is
Mm.
1950s Tiffany because it's my mom's
Come
Tiffany.
on.
So I
Mhm.
wear like her Tiffany necklaces,
Mm.
and one of her pearls, because that's where I got it from. Marty, was
Mm-hmm.
the pearls from my mom, and so those are those things that
Wow.
I get to do, and I get to hold on, but I also get to
Yes.
communicate the fact
Yes.
that I do
Yes.
miss her, and that
Mhm.
I miss hearing her voice, and it's been longer than a year, and I must say this. The reason why I was saying about us actively participating in the grieving process is because I was kind of with Sean. I lost my mom, and then 2 weeks later, my father was rushed to the hospital, and they didn't think he was going to make it. So then we were back on high alert again, and I was back into traveling and being at home for extended periods of time, not able to grieve my mom
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
effectively for myself because I needed to make sure that I tended to my father. And so I believe
Yes.
even in ministry, because of the demands of ministry, I find myself still being
Mm-hmm.
responsible for others and having to carve out smaller times for myself to deal with adequately for myself the grief that I bear as I still carry out my call.
I actually understand that, Rita.
Yeah.
Like you, babe, my biggest thing, my mom was a community person. My mom and dad, they
Mm-hmm.
served the community. And, down home, my father led the organization of the historical blacks, the historical black cemetery, slave cemetery in the city of Orange.
Mm-hmm.
Did the
Mm-hmm.
501c3, the nonprofit. I helped get all of that up and running. He gave back to the community. Mother used to do the same thing. We were embedded. We were stuck in the spirit of giving to the
Yes.
community. And so a lot of times
Yes.
what I do, even on some Saturdays, because that's when my mom and we would talk, and my dad and I would talk on Fridays, but mom and I would talk on Saturdays. I would get up
Mm-hmm.
and I would cook these big meals, and then can't eat it. Now let me be very clear: can't eat half of what I cook, but I just
Mm-hmm.
pack it up and go drive around the city. Then when you get to a
Mm-hmm.
path where you see somebody will work for food, well, you ain't got to work, but eat this.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah,
Enjoy
yeah.
this and
Right.
keep going, and so
Right.
that's my way of, and I'm like you, Marty. On Sundays, my daddy used to tell me, boy, don't you get up behind that desk and don't come out swinging for every soul in front of you. If you're not ready
Come
to fight
on.
for what's in front of you, don't you get up behind that desk. And the church that my daddy used, that my mother used to go
Right.
to, the Mount Sinai Missionary Baptist Church, Reverend C.C.
Come
Jones had a
on.
plaque on the pulpit that said, "Preach or perish." And it's set
Lord
up
have
right in
mercy.
front of you. So when you looked at it, you had a choice. Either you was gonna fight for it or you was gonna die trying. But either way, you were not
Ooh,
coming off that
my
podium
God,
until
my
you got it
God.
right.
I love that.
And so
Listen.
every day that I get up, that I have been granted the grace to go on, I do two things. I preach or perish. I preach for the lives that are in front of me,
Yes.
and those
Yes.
that have perished,
Yes.
I stop long enough to be sure you're okay. Because sometimes you just need a
Yes.
break and then a moment to
Yes.
recover, and I can pick you back up and
Yes.
take you on the journey. And sometimes I need to drop you off because you've gone as far as you can. And let
My
me say
God.
this to you, beloved. It's okay to drop people off permanently, and it's okay to pick people up temporarily. The beautiful
Yeah.
thing about that is that it is your ship. You get to decide
Yes,
who travels on it.
So
that's good.
I can determine my own spiritual Uber and who gets to ride with me and not, and how long I take them.
And
So
how much they gonna pay. Let's be real clear. And
come,
what you gonna pay.
let's. Mm-hmm.
Listen,
Now I
Jesus
know
paid it
Jesus paid
all
it
on
all,
the
but
spiritual. You still owe on this side.
That's right. That's right. That's
yeah,
right. And
I,
everybody
I
ain't everybody's not equipped to go where you're going. And then you also got to know who can go when they can go.
yes,
Because
yes.
there's some times that you can go, you just can't go now.
Mm-hmm.
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 And where
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
go, I think that what's the scripture say? I go to prepare a place. Isn't that what the scripture
Yeah.
says? He go, but
Mm-hmm.
but if you study a little further, we didn't find out what the place was till further down the text.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
so what I
Absolutely.
want to point to everybody is sometimes you got to say you're going to a place, go there, do what you got to do, and then later on down the journey, tell them, "Hey, I'm here. Come meet me here. Let me tell you, apples are apostolic. Let me share
Right.
my location versus text your address. Come meet me where I am." Here is the one thing I
Come
need people to know:
on.
That's good.
invite people in to experience your progress. Because if God will give you the momentum to get to your progress, do you know repeated steps of progress equals success?
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Repeated steps of progress equals
Equals.
success.
That's
Bring
good. That's
people
good.
to your progress once you figure
Yes.
out how to survive in the progress.
My
That's
God,
good.
my God.
That's
I
good.
can't. You guys are phenomenal. I can't believe we are even past time tonight.
Good
Listen.
God
Oh,
Almighty.
Darren cut us off? Look at God.
Get the
He
book.
broke his
Get the book.
Y'all, let me
Get the book.
somebody call Atlanta and see if his fingers work. Uh, oh, there we go. He's still alive. All right, we honor Jesus. That's fine.
He did put you off the phone again.
And that's fine. It
Put
makes
you
me
off.
no never mind. It hurts my feelings none.
I
I'm
love
accustomed.
the right. I love the sharing that you all help somebody in, because during this time, how to get through some of these unhappiness during the holidays is by, I always say, commemorating those that we've lost, commemorating loved ones, commemorating, recreating new traditions, honoring them that have passed before us. You know, in my office this year, for the very first time, we set up, I'm knocking stuff over. We set up an ofrenda to honor those who have gone before us. And it was so beautiful because we just sat around at the office and told the stories of the
Yes.
loved ones. And I never really understood what the ofrenda was in the Hispanic community.
Yeah.
And I think we need to do more of that in our own, because now we don't forget those who walked before us and paved the way
Yeah.
before us. And we got
Mhm.
to hear stories about aunties and grandmas and uncles and brothers and what they meant to them. And so it created a stronger bond. Sometimes some were
Yeah.
sharing in tears, other times they were sharing in joy, but it created a bond. So now that I get to understand, thank you for sharing that story, Bishop, because I get to understand you more. Rita, I will not look at I look at your bracelet in a whole different manner now, because now when I see your bracelets, I know that your mother is with you as well.
Yeah.
And that's what makes that so amazing in that. So guys, listen, thank you for sharing these amazing stories today and giving people hope in what can be some hopeless times. I love you guys. Yeah, we gonna spend one Thanksgiving together
I'm
and
game.
just have it together.
And then
I'm game. I'm game. I'm game. I'm game.
But let me be very
Right.
clear. What I'm not doing, Rita, I don't do snow. God don't speak to me in snow, so I can't come your way between November and April. I just want to be clear. I just want to be. The scripture says, "Make your request known unto your Father." I want to be clear.
I overstand.
I
Yeah.
can't even come preach your way because I can hear the Lord clearly. I'm
I
from the south. I
overstand.
can drive
We
in
gonna
10
get
feet
you
of
up here.
water.
We gonna get you up here in the heat when it's sweltering and when the humidity is a killer. We'll
Yeah,
get
I
you here
do.
then.
That's fine with me. I even do the leaves changing to orange, but now that white stuff.
Okay.
Listen, you keep forgetting. I'm the person. My first time going to New York, somebody said, "Oh, don't forget to get you some Long Johns." I'm thinking Long John gonna call me, y'all. I got to New York, got off the plane, thinking I see y'all is freezing. They said, "Well, did you get your Long Johns?" Well, he never called for me to pick him up. So then when they finally explained to me what Long Johns was, y'all, I was hot. So I was hot. So I ain't got no. I don't do the snow. I'm sorry. I don't. I
You
don't do this.
are
I
crazy.
I can't. Daryl, listen, we got one more announcement for you. Dr. Story. Listen, can we put up Dr. Story's? Do we have Dr. Story's graphic for her podcast?
He must be asleep at the controls.
We have the video.
You know he
Let's
gonna
show
take
the
your
video
picture
one
off,
more time
Bishop.
because Dr. Story is on Spotify. Come on, don't play with us. Woo! She on Spotify.
Come on,
Daryl,
Spotify.
listen, thank you guys for joining us. We're going to go to the video and
Yes.
then we're going to exit right out of here. Have an amazing Thanksgiving. Dr. Rita, you know I love you. Dr. Sean, love you. Love you guys.
I love you guys.
And yes. And everyone, have an amazing Thanksgiving. Check out Dr. Rita and check her out on Spotify. God bless. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Hey there, beloved. It is your girl, the Reverend Dr. Margarita Story, and I am so delighted to share with you my new podcast called A Daughter's Dialogue, the Cinderella Syndrome. This podcast is for women of all ages and stages who desire to take an introspective look at their lives, to challenge and to confront some of our beliefs and behaviors that just may be hindering and hampering us from showing up in this world that has been waiting for us. Initially, we're going to utilize the story of Cinderella as our source of sharing. And I believe that the situations and scenarios faced by Cinderella are similar to those we face today. Subscribe, share, and tune in to A Daughter's Dialogue, the Cinderella Syndrome.